IELTS Listening Module Strategies and Tips, Part 3. And now we're going to talk about our section 2, which is going to be about talk. The most important strategy here to remember is circling the keywords and paying attention to the words around the gaps. Also, you have to keep in mind that you need to pay attention to the grammatical form of the words around the gaps as well. And you have to also determine what kind of words are needed to complete the gap. Sometimes it can be a noun, sometimes it can be a modifier such as adjective, adverb, or maybe it's a verb or preposition. So make sure you look at the gaps and you read the complete sentence and understand what kind of information and what kind of grammatical form of the word you need to write down. So for example, we have an example below in here, and let's take a look. In the IELTS exam, you ask, listen to the talk and complete sentences. Write no more than 3 words and or a number for each answer. So the most important part in here is to read carefully how many words you are allowed to write down. Because sometimes they ask you to write only 1 word, so you need to be very careful. And as you see, we have 3 different statements, 3 different sentences in other words. And number 1, you have a gap, then it's followed by of Taipei 101 began in 1999. So when you're completing this kind of task, read it carefully. So you can ask yourself, what of Taipei 101 began in 1999? So as you see, you need a noun in this case. And make sure you do the same with the following sentences and read them carefully and identify for what type of information you need to listen when you're listening to your recordings. And now we're going to review how to label a diagram, plan, or map. Remember, when you're completing this type of task, you need to look at the words that are on the diagram, plan, or map. These type of words will help you focus your attention while listening. And that's very important while you're listening to this type of task. You paying attention to direction words or location words. They will help you identify specific spots on the plan or map. And also, you have to make sure that you listen carefully for the starting point so you can follow the conversation smoothly. There are important expressions for direction or location you need to know. For example, these are words such as in the middle, above, to the left, around the corner from, at the bottom of the map, north, south, east, west, next to, adjacent to, and so on. There are so many different words, and also it's very important to know the preposition of places such as behind, in front of, past, beyond, on the other side, across, or on the corner of. So make sure you know these type of words, and while you are listening, you are paying attention to them because it will help you to focus your attention and go back to your diagram and understand the diagram and what kind of information you need to listen carefully. So, and that's how we complete our labeling a diagram type of task. And here you need to look at the diagram and read what you'll have to do. You may be asked to match labels with letters on the diagram, or you may be asked to write labels for different points on the diagram. So just make sure you do not write more words than required amount. We discussed it previously. And just listen to your conversation, and before you do so, make sure you analyze and learn the map or diagram you have. So IELTS test is asking you to label the plan below and write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. So make sure you're not writing 3 words, you can only write 1 or 2. And for example, here you have a map and you see how we have a shopping complex, apartments, Maple Avenue, Green Acre Street, library, and we have 3, 1, 2, 3. So you see like gap fills that you have to fill out. And all these words are not here without a purpose. Keep in mind that. And then you need to read them. And it means you'll hear them in recording whenever you feel that you're not focusing, but you hear the word shopping complex. So try to go with your pencil and try to actually draw on your map. That will help you to stay focused. That's what I do all the time too. And yeah, so make sure also that you are very good with your directions like west, east, north, south. So this is very important. Sometimes you use these directions as well in the test. Our final task we're going to review today is giving a short answer. Remember that you need to circle the question and keywords to determine the kind of answer you need to give. Also remember the order of answers follows the talk. If you see the question beginning with who, remember you listen for a name or an occupation. You listen to something that refers to a person. Also, by studying the following lists of words will help you to be more prepared for your upcoming test. So for example, here we have a question words that beginning with who, and type of answer will be a person or name. If your question begins with what, so you know that you are going to hear and write about a thing. Where refers to a place, when refers to a time. When your question begins with why, it means it refers to a reason. How much or how long, it's a quantity. And how often, that means it's a time again. So make sure you study and identify these type of words, and that will help you to be more prepared. And now we're going to review the most important listening tips that can help you do better while completing this task. Remember that you need to stay focused and use your pencil to take notes while being tested. Another important point to keep in mind is circling keywords and predicting your answers. Also remember, reading directions carefully is very important because sometimes you'll be asked to write only one word, sometimes you can be asked to write 2 words or 3 words. So you have to make sure you identify how many words you need to write down in your answer sheet. Another important point to keep in mind also is paying attention to distractors, especially with numbers. Write what's said first and change if needed. Sometimes the speaker can say one number and then he can go back and change his mind. So you have to make sure you write down all the numbers you hear and paying attention which number you need to keep and write down in your answer sheet. And the most important one as well, it's your spelling. So make sure you are practicing a lot your spelling, because if you misspell some words, your answer choice is going to be incorrect. Even the word is correct, but if it's not spelled correctly, your answer is going to be marked wrong. So make sure you keep in mind these tips, and I'm sure they're going to help you a lot during your test. And now we are going to review our recap and the most important points we studied in our today's lesson. As you remember, you'll have 40 minutes to complete listening task, and you listen for 4 sections and answer 40 questions. You'll also listen to a conversation in the section 1, and you listen to a monologue in section 2. Remember that you listen to a conversation between up to 4 people with an educational training context in the section 3, and your section 4 is going to be about a lecture about a specific topic. And remember, most importantly, that you'll hear everything only one time, so you have to make sure you are paying attention, taking notes, and circling your keywords and staying focused.